And now, live from Pod Cabin in Burbank, California, it's the Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend show. Tonight, Alison welcomes a guest. She's a producer who is considered an old-fashioned beauty due to her very extremely highly placed nipples. It's Renee Colvert. Tone Zone is here to let you know that if you still have your Christmas lights up, he will be silently judging you. He might even shake his head. I'm her husband Daniel saying hop on board the Love Bus and say hello to your best friend, Alison Rose.
Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Alison, with the guitars never end. Alison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Alison's your new best friend.
Hello, my little hot chocolate bombs. Welcome to another exciting episode, the first one of 2025 of Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. That particular seasonal carbohydrate was sent in on Patreon by Jennifer J. and Megan Wanger. And first I had jotted down Megan Wanger, and then I looked at all the submissions on patreon.com/Alison Rosen. And I saw that Jennifer J. had submitted it even before.
Wow.
I almost only gave credit to the person who submitted it later. It would be an injustice the likes of which the world has never seen before. Thankfully, I caught it in time. But guys, high stakes.
Super high.
It turned out okay. Anyway, I'm on patreon.com/Alison Rosen. It's really, as you'll notice as you listen to this episode and you hear a dearth of ads, Patreon is really like, it's my thing now. It's my main thing. It's the way that this podcast is able to continue. So I would appreciate your support over there. You can get friend zone episodes. There's a level where you can text me and I'll text you back with a daily text. And on a recent episode, I shared some of those daily texts and Tony and Daniel were thinking, oh my God, how fucking boring. But I'll tell you, more people saw they didn't say that, but I could feel it. I could feel that they were like, stop reading them as examples. You are making people who are already signed up want to stop being signed up. But like a handful of people decided that they wanted in on my mundane, boring texts, which they've not been mundane lately, but we'll get to that. And if you sign up for a year, you get 2 months free.
That's a good deal.
However, that's not the only way that I have my hand out directly to you saying, please put your money in it. I also am on Substack. AlisonRosen.substack.com. And I have been retelling the story. Well, I always say retelling. I don't know why, because it's not retelling. I've been revisiting my journey on the Carolla show and telling the whole story for the first time. I recently put up a whole thing about my dinner with Adam Carolla when I went to his house, and a lot happened. And then there's other stuff I write about too. In fact, right now, given that things are in a weird spot, which I will explain in a bit, I am like, geez, what's my next Substack going to be? But anyway.
Things are about to get juicy.
Substack.com/Alison Rosen.
Substack.
I would like to say hello to my guest, Renee Colvert. Hi.
Hello. I love you so much. So
wonderful to see you. Daniel, hi.
Hi. Thank you.
And Tony, hello.
Hello, I'm here. And just remember, I'm a stickler about my ornaments.
Oh, boy.
Oh, people loved the ornament chat so much. So have you met my friend Wendy Molyneux, Renee?
No. I've
okay,
heard
you know who that
I've
is,
heard
though.
legend.
Yes. So
yes,
she and her husband, Jeff Drake, got on the show. And, I mean, we're on the show recently.
Yeah.
And it turns out that Jeff, his dad, worked for Hallmark, and he's been collecting keepsake ornaments.
This is huge.
And then Tony also collects keepsake ornaments, although he's a stickler. And then the show got taken over with a lot of bro ornament energy.
It's
it was
about
like,
time.
I know.
Thank
I was
you.
like, I've lost. And then Daniel was in there too. Like
It was
I
an
had
attempt-
lost control of the show.
It was time for white males to be heard.
Thank
That's
you.
right.
About
specifically
ornament
about
talk.
ornaments.
Thank you.
People loved it. They would like to come back on the show. Wendy feels that Tony, you and Jeff are the same person, basically.
We did have a lot of similarities. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
And
you agree on the best Hallmark ornament? Were we able to land on?
I don't even think
we had
we had
a little bit. We had a little bit of a different because mine always have to have a Christmas element.
This is
to
how
it.
he's a stickler.
I see.
Yes.
Will you play the drop again? I need to hear it.
I'm a stickler about my ornaments.
So he needs to have like a little Christmas element. It can't
just put a
be...
Santa hat on somebody. He'll put a present in their hand. Whatever you need
So
to do.
easy.
But if it's just Michael
and
Scott,
Norman
it's like,
Rockwell. Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
Now,
Yeah. Correct.
you were at Tam O'Shanter. Did you see Paul F. Tompkins?
I did,
Okay,
yes.
right. I
Okay,
couldn't remember.
yes.
You sent me a photo, but I couldn't remember if it was the same night.
I did. Yeah.
And you received an ornament from a friend.
Yeah, that night,
doesn't
yes.
meet the criteria.
Yeah.
So where does it go in that case?
The trash.
Well, that one was a gift from a friend, and I knew they'd be coming over, so I had to put it up.
Yeah.
Crafty. You can bedazzle.
Yeah,
a
we
hat on there.
that one was straight. I was no, I that is what we do sometimes.
Of course you do. Yeah.
Oh my God, how
sticker
cool.
on
But
there.
this, by that I mean literally flow like pins of Santa hat to something. And
Wait,
that's it.
this is her rule too, or she just goes along with it?
She more goes along with it.
Okay. But anyway, I said to you, I hope they don't listen. And you said they do.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So
Well, now they know.
Have you been issued an apology? Not yet.
no, it hasn't
They're
been
drafting
discussed.
it.
It was funny though because it was literally like the day after we
Yeah.
all had talked about this, and then they gave us that. And it was very nice of them.
We had the opportunity to see Jeff Drake's ornament collection in
Oh,
person. Yeah.
Mm.
So
Does
I
it
got
hold
to see.
up?
There's some pretty spectacular ornaments on that tree. He has a HAL 9000 from 2001 that if you press the side, it lights up and it makes a sound. Like a lot of ornaments that do things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a staple of the Hallmark.
Yes. This
Is
I
that
didn't
true?
know.
Are you familiar with this one?
Well, not that, but I mean, a lot of them like make noise or
stuff,
move.
yeah.
He has a tribble that, like, when you squeeze it, it vibrates and makes the little tribble sound.
Well, huge.
Yes.
I want to make sure I'm reflecting on this properly, but I think I remember walking into Hallmark stores. You'd see those ornaments, and you're like, too fancy for my blood. But someday,
Yeah.
you would aspire, and to have someone on the inside like that,
Yes.
huge.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, as I said, wait till the day after Christmas. Go to that Hallmark store. They're half
Oh,
off.
right. I know. Now,
God.
where's the closest Hallmark store?
I know of two. There's one in La Cañada, really close to Descanso, and then there's one in the Arcadia Mall.
Do you happen to know the names of because like ours was
Was it
always
like Mary's Hallmark? Or
no, it was
Barbara's Hallmark?
Satinder's Hallmark.
Oh, okay.
She was Indian.
Satinder.
I don't off the top of my head.
I'm just trying to think like what my childhood would have been like if I'd had an insider
Yeah.
at
Right.
the Hallmark store to get me Smurfs like at a discount.
Daniel
Be
collected
able to tell
Smurfs.
me shit.
Oh, and I didn't tell you. I meant to take a picture of this and send it to you. My sister I thought she was trying to be funny, but apparently it wasn't completely that. Sent me some Smurfs for
No.
Christmas.
Oh my God. There you
It
go.
wasn't even a gag gift. She just thought she saw them and thought you might want them.
Apparently so. Yeah.
Daniel needs to hear more.
Which
You're about to
Smurfs?
get a
Yeah,
cup.
Which
which
Smurfs?
ones?
Oh, it was like a 30th anniversary thing
so
or something, or
loose?
40th,
Oh my
whatever
God.
it was. Yeah,
So
they
it's
came in
all
a
the
box
Smurfs
together.
Is it all the Smurfs?
I don't know if it's all of them, but it was a lot. There was probably like 10 in it or something.
Oh, there are way more than 10. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's like, this is like there had to have been like over 30 different ones, right? I mean, there was a lot of Smurfs.
What was your favorite?
My favorite, I don't know. I mean, like, I had one that was like a baseball player and he was on a mound, and then there was a pen
Yeah.
that was a baseball bat.
Yeah.
So you just
A
pull
pen?
the
Oh,
bat.
it was like a little pen holder.
Yeah, so that was, but
Pretty
that
cool.
wasn't really like a little that was just sort of a part of the it was like, side over here. I don't know. They were all special in their way. I like the artist one. You have
Yes.
little, the palette and everything.
Loved him. Who was the equivalent to Dopey in Smurf Zone? The Dum Dum?
Oh, I don't know. Was there?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't remember.
It was like-
I don't
for as
remember
many
that.
as I had, I
Derpy
don't
Smurf?
remember very much
Nothing.
about the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't. I think it was more about the collecting. There was something. There's a phase that I went through where it was just like collecting things. It was like baseball cards, and then it was Smurfs, and it was just about having the collection.
Yeah.
I don't know that really cared that much about anything in particular.
When I was a kid, I remember wanting to have a collection. It was like, what kind of person are you? Well, what do you collect? It was, we had our we had our sticker club.
Stickers.
And we had our sticker books. The problem is you got to take the sticker off the backing to put it in the book, or you put it in on the backing, but it's like there's no good way. Nothing feels right with that. We had stickers, and then I think it was from Hallmark that I got. It was a pencil that had a little, for example, Scotty Dog figurine on the top.
Oh my God, I forgot about those.
I had, and I think it said Scotty Dog on the side.
Yeah.
I have a whole. That's probably at my parents' house. I had a whole bag of those. I didn't like them as pencils, but I was like, this is a thing I can collect.
Oh, good to collect.
Also, at Disneyland, they had little porcelain figurines on little cards that you could get at the gift shop.
Oh, wow.
Like all the Disney characters. And I had some of those for a while. But I think maybe before that, I was like, I'm going to collect flower buds. And I'm going to put them in foil, and then I'm going to keep them in a little tin. And I think I got 2. But for a day, I was like, this is my thing. This is who I am. Flower buds in foil.
Do you guys remember pencil machines?
I don't know what that is.
The vending machines for pencils, where they'd have them at libraries and stuff, and and it was like usually like brown, and then it would dispense like one pencil like
a straw.
Yeah. And they would often be like those NFL pencils or whatever. The ones
Did you have
that
to
were,
pay?
like, hexagonal with the stripes, and it would have the team name on them.
Yeah.
Did you have to pay for this pencil?
Yeah, you'd have to pay a quarter or something.
Okay.
I've literally never seen one of these in my entire life.
I think about those pencil machines probably once a month. I'll just sit there and think about, I wish they fucking still had
They got to
that.
bring it back.
And how many times I've gone online to see if those old NFL pencils are still for sale, and I just daydream about it. I don't know what it is.
Tony, will you type in pencil vending machine to see if this actually
see what this
exists?
looks like.
Sure.
Maybe someday you could have one, Daniel.
Ooh.
Honestly, you know how you'll go to like a rich Hollywood person's house and they'll have all the memorabilia? Yeah, like
You do that.
I would have an old school pencil machine from the University of Arizona.
Wait, was it the thing? Does it almost just look like a safe?
I mean, it was pretty much just like a nondescript brown.
Yeah, it looks like
Thing.
I don't know how easily I can't really
Give it
turn my
twirl.
computer
Okay.
around very easily.
We'll just get up.
Okay, yeah.
But there,
Everybody up.
I don't know what's accurate there.
Oh, interesting. Wait, no, that can't be right.
Let's see.
Is that right?
How lackluster.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, like, yes, that's the gist of it.
Point to that.
This one is probably the closest to it, but it would be like the one that I remember was like a dark brown.
Yeah, just
like
kind of looks like a
that.
safe.
And so,
I love vending machines like that where it's
Yeah,
just,
we get on the mic. No one can hear you.
where it's just like so matter of fact.
Yes.
It's like
Pencils.
this isn't, you don't get to, it's not, no bells and whistles. It's like stamped.
this is just what it's going to be.
Pencils.
Yes,
it's going to be.
that is it has all the frippery of a stamp vending machine,
Yes.
but less so because there's no choice, just
Right,
pencils.
but you're expecting with a machine
like a
that
tampon
to
machine.
get
Yeah.
a yellow
Your straw
number
one was
2.
good too. The ones that you twirl in a straw
Yeah.
comes out at the bottom. Yeah.
But those are free. This is
yeah. You got to put a quarter in.
But you get a
scam.
fancy pencil.
Renee, have you ever used one of those sanitary napkin or tampon boxes in a public bathroom?
I think I remember. No,
Neither have I.
I haven't, and it's because which is so insane. The humiliation,
Yeah.
of a cool girl walking in as you're So you wad a lot of toilet paper.
But also, my sense is always this is going to be some like sanitary napkin from 1940 that's or like a tampon, like the first tampon ever invented. Like this is not going to be something that I want to use.
In the men's rooms, they'd have. I remember now. This is a very faint memory. This is like early '80s, late '70s kind of thing, where they would have a vending machine with condoms and like dirty jokes.
That's
Dirty
fun.
Right?
jokes.
You could get like a dirty joke.
Wait, you pay for a dirty joke?
Yeah, it'd be like a little roll.
Yeah, or like weird little like gag gift.
How
like
come we didn't have that in ours? Why didn't we get a dirty jerk machine?
Bullshit.
Absolutely.
a friend of mine
Right,
because
go
he
to
wanted
change.org. We're gonna let him know.
a friend of mine used one of those in a public bathroom before because it made him laugh and he wanted to see what it actually was. The thing was called a genuine pecker stretcher. And so he bought it, and it literally just was, he opened it up, and it was literally just this like piece of cardboard that looked like a stretcher.
Like a hospital
Like you,
stretcher?
yes, like a
Oh.
hospital stretcher.
I was expecting it to be like
Honestly,
a rubber
like
chicken.
great joke.
Exactly.
A rubber, yeah,
exactly.
Great joke.
Wait, what were you thinking it would be?
a rubber chicken or something.
Oh.
It would stretch.
But this
That's
one
pretty
was
funny.
just-
Though.
yeah,
See, that's even one step further.
But wait,
Very
is it like to
funny.
put your wiener on?
I guess.
To put
I
your
thought-
tiny little wiener on like a tiny little
Beth,
stretcher.
I
so
thought
funny.
it was going to be a bird.
Right, that's what I said.
Pull it.
I was
oh, yeah, you
thinking.
said chicken.
But
Duh.
he said it was something different, honey.
Oh.
And I was here to use
Yes.
your line.
But like, I feel like that I was here. If I met someone like me, I was here. Do you think I just stepped out? that culture, that like kind of dirty underside of society culture. I don't know. Like that is gone.
Yeah.
That I feel like it went away with peep shows or something. Like
Do you
it was.
like? Are you suggesting that road stop stores don't even have pens where you turn them and her top comes off?
Those are still around.
I'm sure, but
Thank
like
God.
not like they used to be. That was a major part of our culture for a while.
Huge.
Even like if you, there aren't many left, I feel like, but even like a Spencer's gift,
Oh,
like the
yeah.
back of those are like, they're just like straight up like adult shops now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They aren't like
Well, they used to be.
novelty dirty dice.
Were they?
Yeah.
No, like I mean, maybe there is. I haven't looked too closely, but I just remember
Maybe they're
being
more
kind of
so.
blown away at how many dildos were in there.
Listen, Brookstone is basically a dildo company. You know, it's like
Wow.
But disguised upscale
vibrating
dildo.
company. Yeah, but I remember Spencer was where I would see. Yeah, you'd see all those adult party games and
Right.
edible underwear and, whatever.
Smurfs. That's where I used to get a lot of my Smurfs.
Oh, you got them at Spencer's.
There you go. There you
Oh,
go.
by the way, I googled who the Dopey Smurf
Oh,
was.
yes, who?
Dopey Smurf.
Dopey.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
So much creativity.
Interesting.
went
Yeah,
into
yeah. They're
the
just like, what would the dwarfs do? Yeah, go with that. That's fine. We can keep it there.
So lots of stuff to get into. I do have some funny stories I want to share, but I feel like I should share that I have some sad news, which you guys might already be aware of, because I posted about it on Instagram, and I did the day after it. My mom passed away. And the day after, I did a Patreon episode that was very
emotional.
emotional and raw, and I just kind of like just shared all. I need, I do a couple episodes a month, and I had planned to do it before, but then had to go to the hospital instead. So it was New Year's Eve. It was the last day. It happened that I had to do it, but I think it also for me was helpful to just be able to recount the whole story. So that is available if you do want to hear that, if you want to, the real nitty gritty. But I imagine some people are hearing it for the first time now. So I will just I'm trying to figure out, like, before we even recorded, Daniel and Renee and Tony and I, 'cause this is the first time I've seen you guys in a bit, we're talking about it. So sorry if this is retread for some of you.
No.
Trying to figure out how to tell the story kind of fast. So my mom had cancer, which she never wanted me to talk about. But I oftentimes would talk about, I am starting at the very beginning. This is not.
Well, she first was diagnosed with cancer, 14 years ago?
Yeah, 2010. So I always say that I moved back from California to take care of a sick relative who we didn't know the prognosis. I always would disguise who that was. That was my mom. People might have figured it out, but it was my mom. She just had a thing about.
She didn't want people to know.
And
it might be a generational thing.
I
I'm not
think
sure.
so. I think there's like shame around being sick, but it wasn't like she didn't want to burden. It wasn't like she didn't want to burden anyone, and she didn't want anyone's sympathy, because she definitely let people know, but she didn't want me to talk about it publicly. So anyway, it was primary peritoneal cancer, which acts. Oh my God, this is my Patreon episode. Don't worry, I will.
People want to know.
Okay,
though. I promise.
Thank you.
Everybody wants to know.
I feel like the Patreon people are like, yeah, this is word for word what we already. I won't do the whole thing, guys. I just have to set the stage. Primary peritoneal cancer is the same as ovarian cancer. It's just the primary, which is where the first tumor is found in a different location, but it's the same prognosis, same this. So it was stage 3C. Ovarian cancer is a really bad one to be diagnosed with.
So it's up there with pancreatic cancer.
Yeah,
where
it's
the
like
survivability is low.
Yes. And she outlived the prognosis by a lot. She was very, very lucky in that my understanding is normally when there's a recurrence with ovarian cancer, it has what they call like a talcum powder appearance or something. It's like a spray. So they can't really get it because it's in so many spots. But with her, when it would come back, it would be 1 or 2 discrete spots, and then she would do chemo. I mean, she had so many recurrences. She'd done chemo, the first many recurrences she did chemo, and then she was able to do something called cyberknife a number of times, which is radiation, targeted radiation. And then she had been on something called Lynparza, which I believe is a PARP inhibitor. It's sort of like I think it's on the very like forefront of chemo at this point of how they're treating these things. And so it was all these it was like 8 or 16 giant pills she had to take every day, but she had been on that for years and it had been working well.
Yeah.
And then she had a recurrence. She would get these regular scans, and she had a recurrence
recently.
Yeah, and they had to do. I don't know why they said they couldn't do cyberknife. I think it had to do with where the location, because it was too close to something. So she had surgery. They got it all, but the belief is always that there's some microscopic cancer left over, and if you don't do chemo, then you increase your chances of recurrence. So she did chemo. It hit her pretty hard, but she had a clean scan. And she was like, now I can look forward to Christmas.
And let me just interrupt. She'd gone through this so many times that for the family, it was just kind of like, yeah,
here we go again.
Like the worry wasn't high because she just always they always got it. She would go through this routine.
She also
she'd come out
wasn't
of it. She'd be back to normal.
Yeah.
She wasn't a weak seeming person.
Right.
She was 75, but she lived alone. She was taking herself to all her medical appointments. She was like, my dad was a real sit in a chair and think about things and kind of tell people how he thinks it should be carried out person, or like me. And then my mom was the muscle of, I'm joking, but she was the one who, went out to the store and was on the phone and was making shit happen. Right. He did not.
But that's you too.
That is.
I guess I'm both.
Yeah.
You're both.
I'm both. But, but she was like, she helped my sister and me move into college and leave college. She was active,
right?
Not like hiked or anything like that. She had a lot of orthopedic problems, especially at the end. But I just mean she wasn't an enfeebled old lady that you needed to take care of. In fact, the times that she wanted me to take care of her, which was when she had health stuff, she always wanted. She didn't want to lean on her friends ever. She just wanted to lean on my sister. I mean, she did not mind at all asking us to drop everything and be with her.
Get on in here.
And I kind of resented that. In fact, I wish I hadn't now, but I did because I was just like I have 2 children and a whole life. I cannot do this exactly. And more and more, she was fine. Like even the last surgery I had, so I can carry this with me. I had offered to stay with her if she needed it, and she's like, I don't. Oh, I was there for the surgery. Were you there, Daniel? Or was it just my sister and me?
It was just you two.
Yeah. She didn't need it. She didn't feel like she needed it. So anyway, of course, her immunity, though, after chemo is on the floor. Like there's no immuno either. And okay. So anyway, my sister and her family are down there, and my sister goes to check on my mom one morning, and she's delirious. Like she's not like aware of what's happening. She's sitting up with her eyes closed. She can be roused, but my sister's like, are you like, Mom, what's going on? Like, did you take something? And she was like, I might have. And then she's like, what do you think you took? And my mom said a heart medication that she was on, or just not similar to when my dad had a heart attack in 1998. We were like, Dad. And he's like, what? And like, Dad, we're calling 911. Do you understand, Dad? And he's like, huh? And it's just like, oh my, I have dreams of this where there's like an emergency and someone's just like acting way too chill. And it was kind of like that. So my sister called me. I think I need to call 911. I guess my mom was like, oh no, like
Right.
mom's saying it's not necessary. But she FaceTimed me actually, and I could
Yeah.
see my mom in the background. I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, definitely.
Immediately. Yeah.
And I even, as she was going to the emergency room, I even thought this is probably not necessary.
Yeah.
She probably took a Xanax and a muscle relaxer, or like she probably, and I was like mad at her, like, bitch,
Yeah.
like you, I had a whole narrative, like you self-medicated. That's not a good idea. She's going to be mad that we called an ambulance
Yeah.
on her because now she's going to have to go through all this shit, but she can't expect two non-doctors. Granted, I do have my TikTok degree,
You do.
but she can't expect two non-doctors to make the call. Like, I know we're being overly, so that was, and so anyway, gets to the ER, has 104 fever.
Oh my gosh.
And then they start, doing all the things. They're giving her IV antibiotics. They are giving her fluids. They're testing her heart to see how much fluids they can give her. They're doing, they're doing all the things.
Right.
She's still in the ER. At a certain point, they're gonna, keep her for a couple nights to monitor her.
Yeah.
Oh, at a certain point, I find out she's tested positive for flu, positive for influenza A.
Okay.
And not clear whether she's going to be in the ICU or a regular bed. The ICU doctor came. She's like borderline for, doesn't quite meet the criteria for sepsis,
Yeah.
but that could change. And they decided to put her in the ICU that night, but they said it's like soft ICU. Like she's borderline. She doesn't really need it.
Right.
I had a hysterectomy scheduled for Friday. Had I told you that?
Yeah. Through
Yeah.
text, I
And so
think.
that
Yeah,
was because my mom was BRCA positive, which is the genetic mutation, but my sister and I are negative.
Right.
But her oncologist had said a long time ago, when you're done having kids, you guys should get out your uterus and ovaries because most likely your chances increased. Now, her current oncologist who had trained under the other guy, he said he doesn't think your chances increased if you're BRCA negative.
Yeah.
But I was like, what am I hanging on to
That's
this
fine. Let's
sack
get it
of
out
this?
of there.
Yeah, because because of other reasons, like just irregular bleeding and endometriosis and lots of stuff. There's other reasons to get it out. But I just felt like, God forbid I hang on to this thing I'm not using.
Right. Right.
And then
It
I
takes me down.
get
Yeah.
cancer.
Yeah.
I would be like, fuck.
Yeah.
I could have prevented this.
Right.
So I am trying not to get the flu because if I get the flu, they're going to cancel my surgery. And I'm still thinking I'm going to do that.
Right.
And plus my mom had been like some months ago, she sent my sister and me a text. They're admitting me to the ER because of my blood pressure. Because one of the drugs she was on, Avastin, raised her blood pressure a lot.
Right.
And so maybe it's just the case with all older people. Like a trip to the emergency room wasn't an emergency exactly. Like my whole day, and I was resentful of that too. Like my whole day was taken up communicating on my phone, but I certainly didn't think this was the end.
Of course. Yeah.
But I knew how traumatic. My sister and I both have a lot of medical trauma from all the stuff with my mom at the beginning because she was in the hospital for a long time the first time, and we stayed with her, and it was fucking awful.
Yeah.
It was so for so many reasons it was so awful. A lot of it too at that point being she wanted us to take care of her more than the nurses, so we were like kind of acting as nurses, and we don't have training for that.
Right.
And that was gnarly. And then just like she had a psychotic reaction. Now you guys are getting stuff that Patreon didn't get because it's all coming out. At one point, they gave her Ativan and she had a psychotic reaction to it, which is not that uncommon in IV, whatever it's called, benzos for older people. But that was, she was just like, why are you doing this to me? And are the cookies ready? And like crazy shit.
Yeah. So you had reason to believe that there were other things are happening.
Yeah, there was
that you recover from. Yeah.
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 And yes. I know what I was saying. I was saying we both kind of have some PTSD around all this.
Yeah.
So I knew that my sister was going through hell. So I went down at like 10 o'clock on that night. I'm like, I got to go down.
Yeah.
I have to. It doesn't feel right not being there. Something just said I have to go. Daniel and I both went. We stayed that night for a while. As soon as I walked in, I saw how she was breathing.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of some of the times my dad had been in the hospital near the end. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, she's really not feeling well. Her breathing was very labored. Her eyes were open, but very, like, not kind of aware of things. I don't know if she knew I was there or not. She could respond, kind of, but she had given the wrong year for, like, it was slow. You could tell she was confused trying to remember what year she was born. I stayed for a while. I was afraid to leave, but no guarantees, but they don't think she's going to die that night. But of course, we'll call you unless we're so busy trying to save her. But anyway, I went home. I got a few hours of sleep, and a nurse called me and said, okay, now I really am making the story long.
This is short for you.
Yeah, no, but honestly, like, your listeners are tuning in because they love you and they want to know every detail. And if you're worried about Patreon feeling like they got an exceptional thing, they did. They got it the day after. So
Thank you. They got the exclusive.
No, but the emotion that was attached to it.
Yeah,
so yeah. Both, everybody's winning.
Thank you. So anyway, all right. And I know that's exhausting to hear someone repeatedly ask if it's okay they're telling a story. So I'm going to stop and just tell it as it comes. So I was leaving with Daniel that night, and I'm like, I can't come back tomorrow. I cannot get the flu. I was like, shit's going to go down when I tell my sister I'm not coming back. But, like, obviously if things take a turn for the worse, I'll come back.
Right.
But I can't do it. This is not, like, I have to take care of myself because I got my surgery coming up. Blah, blah. Yeah. So anyway, I know they're going to be disappointed, blah, 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 and boom.
Right.
So that next morning I get a call from the nurse. Your mom is really agitated. She's trying to pull out her oxygen tube. We think it would calm her to have 2 familiar faces. And plus, I think your sister really needs your support. Fine. I'm on my way back.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm on fume. I became the Walking Dead by the end. But I'm, like, extremely tired at this point. I don't even wake up Daniel because I know he needs sleep. So I go down. Over the course of the day, it gets progressively worse. A nurse says to me, things are a lot worse than before. Like, we're beginning to worry about her respiratory status. And, like, her ear was turning blue, and she had sort of, like, bluish marks on her face at this point. They call that being cyanotic, which I know from, it's funny. My, being the guardian of my dogs has taught me a lot. I know that term because that's a sign that a dog's heart is not getting, or a dog is not getting enough oxygen.
Right.
And her kidney values were bad, and I knew of that from what those things meant from Oliver. Oh yeah, from the beginning when she was in the hospital, her liver and kidney values were bad, and they think that's from the sepsis. Her heart was strong at the beginning, but then this is now Sunday, her heart's not strong anymore. And my dad had always said, and he had also said it in relation to the end with Oliver, when there's a cascade and, like, the whole body starts shutting down, you cannot turn it around. Like, that is how people die. That's how death works.
Right.
By the way, trigger warning to anybody who's lost a parent or anything.
Yeah. But I still didn't think this was the end.
Of course.
I did not.
Yeah.
And they had asked us, how far do you want to go? And I was like, all the way. Why would someone not give their loved one every chance?
Right.
So I knew that they were most likely going to put her on a ventilator and start dialysis.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't want to do this if there's no chance.
Right.
But the idea was, dialysis is going to clean her blood because her lactate, which is a measure of, like, her body was very acidic now because her lungs and her liver and kidney wasn't working well. So it's like, clean her blood,
right.
Give her get her oxygen, give her a chance to recover.
Yeah.
A chance that's seeming less and less likely, but I said to the nurse, do people come off of the ventilator? And she said, yes, every day, but not people with your mother's comorbidities. And I filed that. I was like, that doesn't sound good. I'm going to put that over here. Mm-hmm. She's like, let me put it this way. If someone like you a world-class podcaster, was put on a ventilator, that was implied, you would have a 25% chance of not coming off of it. Your mother has a 60% chance of not coming off of it. Still, I'll take that.
Yes.
Put her on the vent. There were some hopeful signs throughout. Nothing like you can hang your hat on, but we haven't had to give her blood pressure medication. I forget what the other ones were,
right.
But I knew that all of these were kind of nothing compared to that lactate number. That was the real number. They were going to do her labs at midnight that night. And the doctor said it's going to be too soon to really expect the dialysis to have made a huge difference. So I will accept she's just a little bit worse. A nurse. So Daniel and I, again, the entire time, would now be an okay time for me to leave.
Well, there's also this feeling. So there's this feeling of like, we don't know how long this is going to go on.
They had said, take care of yourself. This could be a marathon.
Yeah.
She could, it could be weeks. We might have her in the hospital for weeks, and then she goes into a rehab facility.
But there was also the sense of like, it could turn at any second, but it might go on for a week. And it's like, so when do I sleep? Like,
it's like I have this thing when I'm outside of a public restroom and I'm like knocking and I don't hear anything. And I'm like, how am I ever, if there is no one in there, how will I ever know if I'm waiting to hear something to let me know to go in? And then that moment where you're just like, I think I waited long enough. I'm just going to go in. It was like that. Like, what point? Okay. Because my sister didn't want me to leave at all. She's like, I want someone to be with her the whole time, and I need to go sleep because I've now been here for 2 days.
Right.
None of us got any sleep. Everyone kept getting called back. Terrifying calls, by the way. And so it's like, it's not like if she makes it through the night, then we're home free.
Yeah.
So this same exact situation could be occurring if I stay here till 6 a.m. At what point do I decide I can? Because I'm going to fall over.
Right.
And also, to be honest, something is in me is wanting to run because I'm scared as shit. This whole thing is really scary. I want to like touch base with my children and
who, by the way, have no idea what's going on. They're with their other grandmother, but they're like,
who thank God is in town.
Yeah, but I think there's some residual anger about us.
They're
just
mad at us. Yeah, we like in that little kid way of like, you abandoned me. Like I thought you were going to be gone for a few hours and you were gone for days because we didn't intend to be. If we had intended to be gone for days, I would have brought my Lexapro with me. I did bring it the next day, but like
there you go.
We would have.
I feel like this experience is giving me. I want to have a bag. That's
a go
like
bag.
A go bag for hospital. Like grab it. It's got toothbrush. It's got like. Maybe just the various things you might need. If
what else would you put in it?
I don't know. I've thought about that. Definitely like
earplugs.
Yeah, like like an eye guard. I would say a pillow, but you could get a pillow there. What else did I need? I needed maybe a change of clothes,
an espresso machine.
There you go. Yeah, truly.
I don't know. Maybe not that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like medications.
But
contact
to the
solution.
anxiety of just like, and I don't have any of my stuff. And
Yeah.
It's stressful.
Yeah. So, we're going to go. The nurse says her lactate is now like 14 and it had been 9 before. And I say, is that a little bit worse?
Yeah.
And she's like, that is a question for the doctor. So the doctor sees we're in the hall. He's like, "Oh, I'm glad I found you."
We're like leaving at this point.
We're trying to leave, yeah. And bye, Mom. I love you.
Yeah,
totally. She's intubated at this point,
right.
So they were trying to keep her temperature up, so they had a blanket wrapped over her head. She looked like ET. Like she looked not good.
Yeah.
So I mean, her is all of it, and like
she looked good for ET. Like
her face was getting swollen and things were, you could tell and they were like, she's the sickest person we have on the floor, which is insane because the floor was a hall of horror.
It was.
We walked up and down so many times, and it was just like, that's awful, that's awful, that's awful,
my
that's
God.
awful. And that woman just died. How was my mom the sickest?
There were a couple
God.
code blues while we were there. When we first got there,
guys.
there was a horrible, oh my God, tragic case of like a young mother who was dying, and they had to write like a will before she lost consciousness to leave her baby to her parents so that the father of
Who
the
apparently was
child,
like
who
a bad
apparently
dude.
was a
Oh my
really bad
God.
dude, wouldn't get custody. And it was like this mad dash to try to get a notary while she was like, I mean,
She had so many visitors. There were like,
she was young.
it was like a, is it, Tony, will you look up what a chivalry is? I think that's actually a party in New Orleans after someone gets married. But
Let's just call it that, though.
it was a chivalry. There was like, I don't know, I'm bad with numbers, 15 to 30 people in the waiting room. And they were all, they were like teary, but kind of joyful. Like she had a gigantic network.
But the crazy thing is, like, this was on the second floor. The first floor is the natal,
Oh yeah.
like the new mothers.
Right.
And so like you just go down the escalator and it's families with flowers and they're all excited, grandparents and
Yeah.
the baby, and like right above them is the worst tragedies. It's
Yeah. Every
Yeah,
doctor
I
was
couldn't-
great. Every nurse was so
They were
compassionate.
amazing.
They
They
were.
were
I've never
so
had,
good.
because I've now been in a hospital a lot, and they're always fine. But I've never felt highly welcome. It's more like you're kind of a burden because
like-
you're in the way. But here they were like, can I give you a ridiculously uncomfortable pillow and a poor excuse for a sheet, please? Like they wanted. And well, I'm jumping ahead. Okay, so anyway, he's like, I don't even remember his words, but it's bad. And
he's like, I wouldn't leave.
if you weren't here, I would call you back. So I'm trying to figure out now at this point when to call. My sister has gone home to sleep.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out when to call her back because I don't want her to miss the big event, but I also want her to get sleep because she's dying too. Not
Right.
literally. Daniel thankfully cut through my confusion, and he's like, you have to just relay to her what the doctor said.
There you go.
So that was very helpful because
If
I was
her
trying to
mother
manage it.
If her mother had died while she was like catching some disease,
Yeah,
she'd never forgive
wouldn't-
you.
Right.
You know, you have to.
So she comes back. She sleeps in a chair in my mom's room. We go to this waiting room that we didn't know about that has these little like couchettes.
By the way, hospitals.
What's up with your fucking music that's loud in the waiting room?
First of all, that, but like,
Oh, yeah.
in these waiting rooms, especially in areas where people are going to be potentially waiting for a long time and might need to rest, have a couch that is a human length.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like these couches were like
Not-
maybe 3 feet.
Not Ariana Grande length.
Yeah,
She's
and
tiny,
so
right?
I had to
Very
like
tiny, yeah.
create this like Tetris style semblance of
nightmare.
chairs
Yeah.
just so I could like get in this contorted position just
Or
to rest.
Get lazy boys that we can.
Yes, I don't
take it
understand
back.
why they don't.
Yeah.
I guess they really don't want you to be too comfortable.
But like nobody's wandering in off the street to rest at the critical
You're
care
making great
unit.
points. You're making great points.
It just I don't know.
I guess there is an element to it because when you're just like we were traumatized when it first happened 14 years ago, like there is something to a hospital. Like as soon as I walk in, I am throttled back to when I was 10. Like there's just something that sticks with you. So I don't know if
because
the
it's where life
comfort
and
of the
death
bed-
happen.
Yeah.
You know, my experience with Owen was kind of healing. Elliot was a tough experience at a hospital, but with Owen, it really was kind of healing.
Yeah.
Mom has undone all of that. So, so anyway,
So we're calling your sister back.
yeah. And the next morning, my sister sleeps in that room. We sleep on these uncomfortable, couchy things. Sleep is that's in quotes.
Right.
It's not.
It's
real
the
sleep.
lightest possible kind of sleep.
Yeah.
Like you're
It's that thing where you're not sure you slept, but you had a bunch of weird thoughts. So maybe you had a dream.
Right. And your neck's sore.
Yes,
Something
yeah.
happened. Yeah.
I bought I don't normally drink Starbucks Frappuccino or Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee, but I drank a Starbucks, one of those.
Dunkin' Donuts.
No, well, that was the Dunkin' Donuts when I also drank a Starbucks Frappuccino, vanilla, or something that came in a bottle. That like woke me up.
There we go.
I mean, plus the situation, but that I don't know how much caffeine is in there, but yes, please to that. So I go in. it's bad. Like, but we knew that night. I mean, I think Daniel said, okay, so it's not a question of if, it's a question of when.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that what we know for sure? There's an element of hearing it and not really believing it.
Of course.
There's also a moment where it's like, okay, at this point, if somehow a miracle occurs and she pulls out of it,
What
she's
condition
now
is she
in a
gonna be in?
nursing home.
Yeah.
Or
Do you
she's
mean, like,
I
she's-
don't want her to be in
Her
a
body is
Yeah.
damaged
Yeah.
by this to the
Yeah.
point where it's like, what does recovery mean?
and
Right.
well, but also is her brain damaged?
Right,
Like,
that's
can
what I mean.
she
Like, it's like
talk? Can she?
she-
What state is she in?
Yeah.
But still, of course, that's like for me, that's like a thought that comes out here because the main thought is just please let her live. Please
Yeah.
let her live. So I mean, in moments like this, I pray, even though I don't believe in anything. You know.
We all do.
You got
Yeah.
to pray just to make it today. That's what I say, you know?
I think that's true of everyone.
Probably.
Though. Like when you get in those situations, you're talking to somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You know, religion, like, you know, it does really work in certain parts of your life. You know, it's like that's when you go, yep, I do wish that I had more faith right now, more religion.
So her, I'm still trying to leave the goddamn hospital. I'm like, okay, she's gonna die, but can I go home and take a shower and then we come back and deal with that? And one of the nurses there, not the main nurse, but he's like, my advice would be anyone who would want to see her, bring them now. Every single person in there was like, I've been doing this 20 years, so I can say, like, everything. It's like they all let you know how they're, and he was like, listen, I've been doing this for this many years. And
Yeah.
it's funny. It's like almost like a Tourette's need to let you know how long they've been doing it.
Yeah, the nurses, the people that work there, they see it every day. They know that certain things when they happen, this is how this goes. Yes, maybe there's a chance
And
it'll turn around, but like, no.
a nurse
Yeah.
she came up to me and put her hand on my arm, and I'm like, oh, am I in your way? Because it's a very small room.
Yeah.
That was also like, could I be huffing more flu? Possibly. I'm in a fucking fishbowl with septic Shelly. I wore a mask the entire time.
course you
And
did.
like,
Yeah.
I've never used so much hand sanitizer. I think I will loathe the smell of hand sanitizer. But anyway, in fact, like, she had reached up to kind of like pull at my mask when she was real out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have to keep it on, Mom.
Yeah.
But anyway,
She was like, face diaper.
she's like, you lip-tart cock.
Hard face diaper.
Yeah,
Take it off.
right. I'll drink your liberal tears
Yeah.
in
It
hell.
was real transformation.
Yeah. I think she was out of it. When she had that Ativan situation at the hospital, my sister had ruffles on her hoodie and my mom
Yeah.
kept like playing with
Yeah.
them. I think it's just a real little kid kind of.
Yep.
Like, shiny, you know.
Right.
There's also some other things that she said or were trying to say that were kind of heartbreaking, and that's on my Patreon. I won't get into all that, but the deterioration of her was really, really heartbreaking. So
It really it reminds you how much your body is a system. Everything works together.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, you tend to think like, well, you know, if this goes, I'll just like kind of repair it over here. Everything will be okay. But like, everything's connected. So if this thing goes, then this other thing starts to go. And then these other things start to build up. And it's like, it's just like this perfect system.
Yeah.
And it really
That's how
made me
it is, huh?
appreciate
Yeah.
my body while also feeling incredibly fragile. Now
Yeah.
I'm like completely freaked out about my health. But yeah.
Sure.
So, anywho, we call our best friend, who doesn't even know any of this is happening because it happened so fast. And she came, and that was really nice to see her. She shared a lot of stories of my mom when my mom was young, and that was sort of healing to hear that. And we're talking to the chaplain, who I thought chaplains just do spiritual stuff, but he had a lot of very practical advice. I would, if you're ever in this situation, talk to the chaplain. Hopefully you get a good one, because they even have a handbook that says next steps. So he was able to just talk us through, like, you're going to want to call this person, like, here's just what to do, which helped me.
In our experience, it was good. I would just say My mom worked at a hospital
Yeah,
before she
we've heard of real
retired,
bad
and
ones
she
too.
managed
Okay.
the chaplains, and the chaplains
Oh.
can be not great. They can be more proselytizing and
Yes,
and
he
pushy.
thankfully didn't get.
But we
I
were-
don't even think he mentioned God.
Yeah, no, he
Maybe
was
he did,
really
but-
he was really good. So
Well,
we were-
or just ask if they have a booklet called Next Steps.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
So, my sister. So anyway, then they let us know they don't see evidence of brain activity anymore, which is like, ugh. So, they stop the dialysis. They call it futile care. They don't even ask us; they just stop it. And it's now we're choosing when to take out the breathing tube. We want to make sure we're really ready. And so we wait a bit, and then we leave the room and they take it out, and then we come back in, and then absolutely zero happened between then and when she died. We don't exactly know the exact moment she died. You expect it to be like, and then I felt a coldness in the room, or like she, sat up, or she went like anything.
Yeah.
I think with some people there is that, but with her it was zip.
yeah, I don't know what I was expecting. I mean, like, you do hear about, when the body dies, there's an exhalation, or you might hear some air leaving the body, or there might be this or that, and it was like no change at any point at all whatsoever. Like,
Yeah.
I could not. She could have passed an hour ago. Like, I just don't know.
I had been
So-
afraid to be present with the body, even though I've talked about having seen. I did a visitation with my dad. That was where we
Yeah.
did the service, and it was really healing and helpful. Even though I knew that, I still, I had heard stories of people who like spent another hour with their loved one, and I was like, I thought that was sort of scary. There was nothing scary about it. She looked beautiful, even though she did not look like herself exactly because she was swollen in such a way. But just
Right.
the nurse, who's so kind, had like combed her hair, and it was really not at all scary to be with her
Yeah.
in the room and to say all our things. And
The thing that our culture makes us feel like death. If you haven't experienced it, like, is this really scary? Like, I don't know, about a 10% chance there'll be a zombie. I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be like there's gonna be a skull and like
chains.
and like that's not like that at all. I mean, I guess if you wandered into some sort of slaughterhouse or something, it'd be like that. But like most of the time in a hospital, it's just really sad.
Yeah.
But the thing I was always afraid of is like, that's based on movies.
Yes.
And bullshit. The reality of it is like it feels incredibly natural.
But
This doesn't feel unnatural. It's really sad and tragic and all of that. But there's nothing about it that feels it's like, I don't know. It's like, that happens.
Right.
That
There's
it just
no dramatic flourish.
which I think is really healthy. I think we should be closer to it in our culture so that it's not so scary, I think.
I will say, though, I felt like I could see how someone going through this experience would then turn around and write a horror movie or write a story of a zombie or something. There was an element for me of body horror in all of it because the way she looked throughout it is so something of a horror
You
movie.
were in the room a lot more, like while she was being hooked up to stuff, and that definitely. And I think
And
also
just the changes to how she looked because the parts of her face that were, she was jaundiced and the coloring was different and she was swollen and there was like bleeding under the skin of her lips, which was weird and, or sad rather. Like all those things you can see how that would lead someone creative to come up with, a zombie story, like the way the body changes throughout. Like this changes your body.
And I think too, I was actually thinking about the zombie stuff because I was thinking like the where I find horror in it is in the horror of the absence. The sudden absence is horror to me. Like how can they be gone? Like and the just
They, her, and my dad, or they,
just whoever,
her and whoever. Okay.
Yeah, like every time I've been close to someone dying, it's always like that to me is horror.
Yeah.
Like they're
Yeah.
and And I was thinking like, oh, that kind of is what the zombie thing is, because it's the horror of someone you knew becoming something different. It's just pushed to this like ridiculous point where it is actually scary.
Yeah.
But there is something scary about that. There's something like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like how?
And what the fuck is the main thing we were feeling the whole time? I'm
Yeah,
just like,
of
holy
course.
shit! What the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
How is this real? She went
Very
so
surreal.
fast.
Yeah.
And it's my mom who we were worried about my dad dying for 25 years or something, because he had this massive heart attack in 1998, and every Christmas was like, could be the last. Every trip could be the last.
Wow.
With
Well,
her,
we all expected your mom to go on for 20 more years.
yeah,
Like,
we
this
did
was
not. So this
very
just is like,
unexpected.
what the and it wasn't cancer that took her. Like,
Yeah.
what? It's so So I feel traumatized by the whole thing, even though I am handling it with dignity and grace.
You are.
I'm joking.
You are. You aren't going to want me to say this, but when we were talking before we started recording, Tony and I were just like, I need you guys to know that grief looks so different on other people. The way I was telling Tony, like, I just wouldn't tell anybody for like a full month, because I wouldn't be able to handle it. I wouldn't be able to be in control
I
of my emotions.
still struggle to talk about
Yeah.
deaths that happened years ago.
Yeah. And just the bravery and the strength to be like, it happened. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to hit it immediately. It's just, it's incredible. I would give anything to be
I want to
like
say
that.
this though to anyone listening though, like, yeah, but grief looks different on everybody in every situation is different as
Yeah,
well.
True.
And so like, there's no right way to grieve. There's no good way to grieve. I think the only good way to grieve is to be honest with yourself and feel the things. The bad way to grieve would be to try to like, I don't know,
deny it
or push it back. Like,
I think that's what Tony and I are saying.
Yeah.
It's like we squished it and it still is there.
yeah.
Years later.
I just don't want anyone.
Let it out, guys.
Yeah.
I think that people tend to feel like this is how it's going to go, and if it's not that way, I'm embarrassed. There's like humiliation, and it's just no. Like, you might be a mess for a year, or you might find yourself unable to cry at all, and that's okay. Like, it's.
I also think right now we're in the stage of planning everything. There's a service for her on Wednesday. I've been on the blower nonstop, just calling.
The blower? It's a
That's what we
horn.
call it.
It's
Yeah,
a blower.
on the horn.
Okay.
It's on the blower on the
Okay.
horn.
Oh, yeah.
Nonstop. These people, my parents had no plans.
Yeah.
So, and
What a
I,
gift you can give your kids, by the way, to plan it.
I liked what we did for my dad, but my sister didn't love the place, the facility. So I've like talked to every single crematory and mortuary in SoCal. If anyone needs resources, I have a lot of info. And then it's like, we got to plan a service and a this and a that. And, or I do at least. So I've been doing all of that. So I think that my grief might be in a box a little bit. It hits me at 4 a.m. I wake up and I'm just like, I feel so sad and kind of horrified. But I think I am just in a getting through this, and then I'll probably be really sad after.
Yeah, like I mentioned that family when we were there, that the young mother was dying, and it was her brother was the one who was, on the phone drafting up this legal letter and stuff, and and just how like collected he was. Yeah. While everyone around him was really sad, and I heard him talking to his mom, who was like, and I was like, I think nature gives you that ability to compartmentalize in these times of crisis so that you can handle. So like, again, to anyone who might like, why am I, if you're going through something, like, why am I not feeling sad? It's like, it's actually, I think, a healthy part of the process that you're not.
Yeah.
Because like right now, I think Alison's in that stage of like, and then the grief will hit later probably, but it's like, it allows you to do those, to survive a crisis. I was so proud of that young man.
Yeah, no,
I don't even know him. I just wanted to be like, I'm so proud of you.
Oh, you should have told him.
I know.
It would have meant so much to him. But it is fascinating how your body will protect you. You're just like, nope.
Yeah.
We're going to work on that later. But right now, I guess I want to call it out that's a lot. That's you've been through so much, and then to also have to be in charge of everything. It's so much,
And you're still doing shows.
yeah.
This is the highlight. This makes me feel better. So thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. I had promised a funny story.
Yes.
So I'm going to do my funny story, and then we're going to do a product pick. But anyway, so our dog Petey is a perv who likes to chew on dirty underwear.
He's so into underwear.
He
It's like
loves
he's such
underwear. And I am
little
the
creep.
kind of gross person who doesn't use a hamper. I just have a pile of dirty laundry in my room. So just a pile of dirty underwear. They're not dirty, but
Right.
they're, they're worn. They're
They ain't
worn.
clean.
So I get into bed last night and Petey is just, no, I find a pair of underwear on top of the blanket. I'm like, Petey, because he had brought it up there.
Sure, yeah.
And I like take it and I throw it to the pile. And then I'm like, this guy. And then I like pull up my blanket and there's 3 more pairs there. He had a collection of my dirty underwear in the bed.
Yeah, that dog, man.
Petey, that's very funny.
Yeah.
That's very, and you gotta, what's going on in the dog brain? He's just
And
like, I gotta
That's
bring
the
this back
stinky
to you.
part.
To be fully, what'd you say?
Well, that's the stinky part.
He likes anything that smells
Of course.
like us, And to be fully transparent, because why stop now? All my underwear looks like moths got to it because there's all these tiny little holes in it from his teeth marks.
Yeah.
It's like I have, it's like lace, but it's not lace. It's I have perforated underwear and I'm continuing to wear it. And I'm wondering, like, at what point will I begin to feel that it's perforated? Like, I don't know. But yeah, no interest in clean underwear.
No,
Or
of course not. Why
just
would
like,
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my funny story.
That
All right.
is very funny. And I think you don't do this, but I think that could turn into a very unique design for underwear.
Yes.
Yeah. That and then now you're making millions because
Like what? Oh, perforated
I think
undies?
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, see it.
Created
see if
by
it
a
catch-
puppy.
I know. Oh my God.
What people would do. Come on.
A picture of him,
Right.
like Petey's undies.
It's right there. It's right in front of you.
Petey'sUndies.com.
You got
Right.
it. You simply must.
Let's do Podcast Pal product pick. Podcast Pal's product picks. All right. What do we have, Renee?
Yes. What do we have? I should have thought of this because I did it just me or everyone. There is I will. I'll still do it.
Do you want? I have one. Want me to go first?
Oh yeah. that'd be
Okay.
good. Okay.
Guys, I'm on a hairspray journey.
Yeah.
I don't use hairspray a lot, and I have an issue with it, which is that every time I buy an aerosol can of hairspray, it stops working. It starts like either I'll press it down and it'll spray in some weird way and hit me in the eye, or it just doesn't spray at all. And I put it under the sink and I try to clean it or put a pin in it. I don't understand why I can't keep a bottle of hairspray, or maybe they all do this. I don't know. But anyway, I have been experimenting with volumizing spray, like a dry volumizing spray, thinking that's what my flat hair needs. And I had this realization, like maybe hairspray is actually what I'm looking for, because I think these dry volumizing sprays, like they look great in Elliot's hair. These dry texture sprays. It looks great in short hair, but in long hair, I think it kind of just makes. I don't think it
It's
does
not
anything.
strong enough.
I don't know what it does exactly. It's not, but it doesn't do what I want it to do. So anyway, my mom had hairspray, and I'm like, she would want me to have her hairspray, and my sister was fine with it. So I tried. I used Redken Framework today. Now I'm at the beginning of my hairspray journey, so I don't know if I'm going to end up saying this one is great, but that is going to be my But for today, in the middle of grief, if you need a little bit of a lift, Redken Framework, it's like a working hairspray, and I'm working. So that's the one I recommend.
Redken has good product.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it smells
they really
pretty
do.
good too. All right. Anyone else?
Yes, I can go. So I got into red light for my hip
Oh, yeah.
You want to think it's a placebo, but God.
Wait,
No, I have a
for your
red light
hip,
mask.
tell me how that
Yeah.
works.
So I don't know. But you put, so it's like red light mats.
What was wrong with your hip?
But it
Like
was,
a muscle
just
thing,
hurting
or-
when I was running.
Okay.
Yeah. So like sore muscle, but it was like chronic for like 7 years. And then I started red light therapy.
And what is it supposed to do?
It's supposed to like stimulate the cells to do more healing.
Yes. And because like to look at that, you're like, I'm putting a light bulb on my head, and that's gonna. I was like, this has to be bullshit. This has to be.
I have my shoulder.
Yes.
Like I injured my shoulder, and it's been months.
Yes.
And it's like, heal.
Yeah.
And
Try it.
It's like, but it's sort of feels a little deep. Like, is it
Yeah.
too deep for the red light?
No, definitely, because mine's like it was deep in my hip. Yeah, and I don't know what it does. So I think red light in general, I guess works, but then also it's supposed to help with your skin. And then I was like, okay, well, I need the mat for like when I'm injured, and then I want to get the face, and then I want to get the neck, and then I want to get the glove. And at that point, I was just like, I just need a full body. So I got a full body red light.
Really?
Loving it.
Is it
I'm
super
having the
expensive?
best time. No, it's like, I mean, yes, but the mask itself is like $350.
And do you feel different?
No, I do.
Is it the thing
Yeah.
you lay in, like panels, or
You
what does it look
can
like?
get a sleeping bag. I tried the sleeping
It's
bag.
like a sarcophagus.
And I got a little claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Poor Tugboat just got to see like this worm come to life. I was like, I can't. And so we ended up just getting 2 mats. So I lay on one, and then I'm.
We should
putting
get
it on
those.
top.
Yeah, we should try
I
it.
do. I really recommend.
What are
them.
we
They're
talking
great.
price wise?
I think it was $350. So
Okay.
yeah, $700 for 2. But I'm talking like full
Yeah.
like blanket mats.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I love it. I
And did
love
you get it on Amazon?
I did. Yes,
Perfect.
I will send you the links.
Amazon.com/shop/Allison Rosen, where you can get Renee's red light masks.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from your listeners. Also, can I issue an apology to your listeners? Last
For
time I
what?
was on, I tried to tell them that Mary Oliver was on Instagram. And I almost got there. It's Mary Oliver's drunk cousin on Instagram. But I was
She's
real
an Instagram
confident.
poet, yeah.
Yeah. That Mary Oliver herself was on Instagram.
I don't think anyone.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well,
Took
just in
issue.
case they were just
Thank
like,
you for
this
the
dumb
apology,
bitch.
though.
Well, I just wanted to like establish the red light thing of just like, this bitch thinks Mary Oliver's on Instagram. I'm not going to listen to red light. So I just wanted to like,
Right.
give a little
Credibility.
street
Yeah,
cred.
I
Right.
understand. I understand. Tone Zone?
I was struggling to think of anything, and I was asking Flo. I was like, "If we got anything?" And then she threw something out, so I'll say that. I've talked before about she has a very bad gluten allergy,
Yes.
and this is so I've become more knowledgeable about that because it's just a big thing now. And if anybody's in the LA area and has this issue, there's a place called Yvonne's Bakery in Pasadena. Has lots of gluten-free and vegan treats and bread and all this stuff, and it's I've had it too, and it's very good. Even for being those things, you wouldn't know actually.
Is our whole life moving? I mean, we're actually not gluten free, but is our whole life moving toward Pasadena? It feels like it
Pasadena's
is
been a
lately.
big part of our
Her
life lately.
service is in Pasadena.
Oh, yeah.
She's being cremated in Pasadena. I feel like we're being called to Pasadena.
The
I like Pasadena,
energy
right?
of
Yeah.
Pasadena is really good.
I
Yeah.
like Pasadena. I don't want to live in Pasadena,
Okay.
but I do.
Okay, because I bought a house there.
But I
so-
do
damn,
like-
which I'd known.
Gonna make a few calls. Hold on.
I do like like
that's fine.
the communities that are sort of North Pasadena near like Caltech and JPL, like all up in there is so pretty.
Pasadena, agreed.
Love that. Yeah,
And that La Crescenta and like,
yeah.
Pinata,
Montrose.
yeah.
Oh god, yes.
And the
Montrose is super cute. I didn't realize how cute it
Montrose is
was.
really
Obsessed
cute.
with that place.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
I just feel like there's a fire risk up in that area that's
course
pretty
there
high.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so-
Everywhere.
Yeah.
but yeah,
Do you happen to have a product pick? I do have some. I need to say hello and welcome to my patrons, so I can just glide right past you.
I'm not allowed to buy products.
You just bought some skin products.
It's just CeraVe. I'm not going to promote it until we see like a real
results.
change, a real results in
Make
this
'em earn it.
this mug.
All right,
I don't know. No, I ain't got nothing.
great, helpful. Thank you. I'm joking.
Then let me buy shit.
You've been threatening to buy jeans.
I'm gonna buy some
Threatening to
really
buy
expensive.
jeans.
I'm gonna buy
Man,
some really expensive
lighten up.
jeans.
You're brutal.
It's intense.
Tony,
Wow.
this whole podcast for me is just a cry for help. Maybe my wife will let me buy jeans.
He's been like, I don't know what kind of jeans he's gonna buy.
I'm just prepping you
but
because I'm
there's
gonna
been a
buy
lot of
like
warnings.
$400. Well, I'm into right now buying stuff.
What, like
that's gonna
bespoke
last.
denim?
Yes.
Yeah, sort of, not bespoke, but like just stuff that's gonna last. I'm tired of my shit falling apart. Like you know, you go, you buy the cheap shit, and then like 6 months later, all the threads are coming out. It's like, no, I want my.
So you're going to buy extremely expensive jeans. There's been enough warnings that I'm braced for something, some kind of jeans event.
Listen, when you want to buy something that seems unreasonable, then you got to lay the groundwork.
Yeah, but you did it right to be like, I care about the earth, and
It is. This is. Have you seen the documentary about fast fashion, honey?
Not at all.
Have
No,
you
I
seen
have
the
not.
amount of waste that we're creating? I need to buy expensive clothes.
there you go.
All right, let's say hello and welcome to the new patrons.
Alison wants to say thank you to a couple of special people out there who signed up to be new patrons. Patreon.com/AlisonRosen.
All right. Hello and welcome to Julie Watson, to Marcy Sheehan, to Jenny Wilson, Oh My Hammies, Aaron Thomas, Joanna McD, Robin Kay, Gibby Gibson, Megan Wanger, Amanda, and Daniel Stark. Hello. Welcome.
Good group.
I love you all. I appreciate your support.
The best of us.
The best of us is my
right.
patrons. They call themselves Allison people, and I always like privately refer to. I would say, like, I got to record an episode for the patroons.
Yeah.
That's just what I call Patreon people, patroons, and I've decided to make that public. So
Yeah,
they're my
that's-
patroons.
You should.
That's brave of you.
Listen to the episode of you saying the text message, and I had a good mind to be a patroon because I
Be a
want in on this.
patroon.
I want in on this.
Join. It's fun. They
Sounds
found out
great.
my mom was dying before anyone else. They were getting daily updates from the hospital. They knew.
Yeah, so you guys
Get all the good
listening,
stuff.
if you want to hear the latest live feed from the funeral, sign up for the Patreon.
Oh my God, what if that was like the video level gets the funeral? I would like to thank everyone for listening. I'd like to thank you guys for being here and being a source of joy in a dark time. Everyone, listeners, thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen Show?